The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman.
At some point, black women's lives have to matter as equal in America.
Hello everyone, it's Queen Beeline back to you with another video. This video pertains to the Sonya Massey verdict, as the jury has given their decision. Before I begin, I would like to extend my continued support, condolences, and sending healing energy to the family and Sonya Massey's children at this time. According to reports, a jury on Wednesday, October 29th, 2025, convicted a former sheriff's deputy of second-degree homicide in the touching unaliving of Sonya Massey, who called 911 asking for help. Sean Garrison could be sentenced up to 20 years in prison or probation. Sentencing is scheduled for January 29th, 2026. Grayson and another deputy arrived at Sonya Massey's home in Springfield, Illinois, early on the morning of July 6, 2024, after she reported a prowler. Grayson touched Sonya Massey after confronting her about how she was handling a pot of water she had removed from her stove. Grayson and his attorneys argued that he feared Sonya Massey would scold him with hot water. Sonya Massey's unaliving raised new questions about U.S. law enforcement touching of black people in their homes and prompted a change in Illinois' law requiring fuller transparency on the background of candidates for law enforcement jobs. Grayson was originally charged with first-degree homicide, which carries a prison sentence of 45 years to life, which must be served in full. But after the 7-day trial, the jury was given the option of considering second-degree homicide, which applies when a defendant faces a serious provocation or believes their action is justified, even if that belief is unreasonable. Second-degree homicide could bring Grayson a sentence of 4 to 20 years with a day-for-day good time, meaning his sentence could be halved if he behaves behind bars. He could also be sentenced to probation and avoid prison time entirely. The body cam video recorded by the other county sheriff's deputy on the scene that morning, Dawson Farley, was a key part of the prosecution's case. It showed Sonya Massey, who struggled with mental health illness, telling officers, "Don't hurt me," and repeating, "Please God." When the deputies entered the house, Grayson saw the pot on the stove and ordered Sonya Massey to move it. Sonya Massey jumped up to retrieve the pot, and she and Grayson joked about how he said he was backing off from the hot steaming water. Sonya Massey then replied, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." Both Grayson and Farley drew their weapons and yelled at Sonya Massey to put the pot down. Grayson told investigators he thought her rebuke meant she intended to harm him. And in the following commotion, fired 3 touches, striking Sonya Massey just below the eye. Farley, who at the time of the incident was a probationary employee subject to termination for any reason, testified that Sonya Massey didn't say or do anything that caused him to view her as a threat. But under cross examination, he acknowledged that he initially reported to investigators that he feared for his safety because of the hot water. Farley did not release his weapon and was not charged. Grayson testified in his own defense and was the first witness his attorneys called. He told jurors he noticed the bottom of the pot was red and he believed Sonya Massey planned to throw the water at him. He said Sonya Massey's words felt like a threat and that he drew his weapon because officers are trained to use force to get compliance. She's done. You can go get it. But that's a head touch, Grayson told Farley after the incident. There's nothing you can do, man. Grayson relented moments later and went to get his kit while Farley found dish towels to apply pressure to the head wound. When Garson returned, Farley told him his help wasn't necessary, so he threw his kit on the floor and said, I'm not even gonna waste my med stuff then. Prosecutors stated that response indicated Grayson's disregard for public safety, an argument that persuaded Judge Ryan Kigden to keep Grayson in jail awaiting trial. An Illinois appeals court subsequently ruled that Grayson should be released under the Pretrial Fairness Act. An appeal to the state Supreme Court has yet to be decided. Sonya Massey's unaliving also forced the early retirement of the sheriff who hired Grayson and generated a U.S. Justice Department inquiry. The federal probe was resolved with the Sangamon County Sheriff's Department agreement to fortify training, particularly de-escalation practices, develop a program in which mental health professionals can respond to emergency calls and generate a data on use of force incidents. As previously reported, the Biden-Harris administration had a national database that tracked misconduct by federal police, with misconduct records from being able to move undetected between agencies. The National Law Enforcement Accountability Database, NLEAD, which stored police records documenting misconduct, is now unavailable, the Washington Post first reported. The U.S. Justice Department also confirmed the database elimination in a statement issued online by the current administration. User agencies can no longer query or add data to the NLEAD, the statement read. The U.S. Department of Justice is now decommissioning the NLEAD in accordance with federal standards. A web link that hosted the database is no longer active. The Police Misconduct Database, the first of its kind, was not publicly available. Law enforcement agencies could use the NLEAD, the National Law Enforcement Accountability, to check if an officer applying for a law enforcement position had committed misconduct such as excessive force. Again, condolences to the Sonya Massey family. Continued condolences for the loss of your child and mother. I cannot begin to understand what you are feeling at this time as you are closing one chapter and waiting for the next chapter to close during sentencing. These are my thoughts. This quote unquote former officer had no business serving or protecting the community due to his prior run ins, which includes being discharged from the Fort Riley Army installation in Kansas back in 2016 for misconduct, serious offense in which the Army confirmed but would not give any details about this monstrous discharge. In addition to being terminated, resigning, or citing other reasons for being dismissed as an officer or deputy, this monster had no business serving or protecting the community. In addition to having 2 DUIs, so it begs the question, why did this monster had any business interacting with the public, let alone engaging with the public carrying weapons? Make that make sense. And when will we as a society hold white men accountable? What also bothered me was how the jury didn't even consider first-degree homicide on any of the 3 counts given, just because Sonya Massey stated, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." As you watched the video, you can tell there was some form of disconnect between Sonya Massey and these monsters. We have witnessed white men committing mass crimes and being taken into custody without incident. So it goes back to the disturbing narrative that Black people are a threat even when they are experiencing a mental health episode. That monster didn't give a bleep about Sonya Massey. You heard him on the body camera. I'm not even gonna waste my med stuff then. That was more than enough for at least 1 count as it pertains to first-degree homicide, due to the fact that this monster was of sound mind and did not give a bleep about this Black woman's life because she's beneath me and she will bend to my power and my authority. It has become clear that society in this country will never see Black people's humanity even when you are in a crisis. Sonya Massey's mental health and humanity were not given consideration because they didn't want to quote unquote hold this white man accountable for his actions or previous actions which brought us to this moment. At the end of the day, Sonya Massey's not here, and her mental health does not, I repeat, does not give these monsters the right to be judge, jury, and ultimately executioner of this queen. You notice how white privilege was also exposed in this case? Not once did this monster express any remorse for what he did. He was so confident that he was the first witness on the stand for the defense. This quote-unquote former officer can still talk to his family, can still see his family. But Sonya Massey's family will only have memories. And that's the sad part in all of this. We are watching in real time the dismissal, disregard, disrespect of Black women regardless of health, education, class, or area code, and the continuous gaslighting and mental gymnastics to justify the actions against our community members should be studied. In addition, we must also take into consideration when these unfortunate events occur to be aware of the misinformation disinformation, aka lying, that occurs because it does impact the victims and their family members and loved ones as they are grieving the loss of a loved one and trying to keep intact their memory and humanity. Protect Black women should not only be a slogan, but something that we are actively doing in public as well as in private. Sending healing energy to the Massey family. Say their names, known and unknown. Protect Black mothers. Say her name, Sonya Massey. Justice for Sonya Massey. And as always, please be safe out here, and I will see you in the next video.